Old school boxing books always talk about rhythm. Boxing coaches were terrified of opposing fighters finding their rhythm. When Joe Louis fought Billy Conn, his trainer Jack Blackburn sensed the wiry Conn getting his rhythm and implored Louis to pick up the pace to disrupt it. The master of rhythm, Sugar Ray Robinson, was once described by AJ Liebling as seeming more like a loose-limbed dancer than a boxer. While modern boxing largely obsesses over power and muscle, the old school realised the merits of cat-like reflexes and elusiveness, reiterating the need to stick and move. So let's explore boxing's shift from limber artistry to robust strength, analysing whether packing on mass has the desired effect in the ring. Debate rages online over whether boxers should weight train. Some claim it tightens an individual, reducing flexibility and increasing fatigue, while others argue it increases speed and strength. But there's one aspect frequently overlooked: rhythm. Bulking up can have its benefits, but a fighter needs to be agile and comfortable with effortlessly moving their frame. The Hall of Fame boxer Archie Moore never lifted weights and encouraged his fighters like Ernie Shavers to avoid them. He prescribed chopping wood and lifting hay bales instead, believing that bodybuilder weightlifting made fighters too muscle-bound, disrupting rhythm and hindering speed. In Gilbert Rogan's article, A Champ Like No Other, he recalls the unmatched rhythm of Muhammad Ali. Ingemar Johansson, a stocky muscular heavyweight, was training for his third fight against Floyd Patterson. He'd end up sparring a 19-year-old Ali in Miami, but he simply couldn't lay a glove on the greatest. Ali was never a heavily muscle-bound boxer, even in his prime, but at this age, his dance-like rhythm was otherworldly. He'd state, "Sometimes I wonder when a big fist comes crashing by and at the last minute I move my head the smallest bit and the punch comes so close I can feel the wind, but it misses me. How do I know to move just enough?" Aside from God-given talent, Ali's lean physique enabled him to stick and move, controlling the tempo whilst effectively seeing punches in slow motion. His longtime trainer, Angelo Dundee, reiterated that Ali avoided lifting free weights, instead focusing on calisthenics, skipping and heavy bag work, believing that bulking up would restrict his punches.
Everybody has their own methods of training. I don't believe in anything unnatural. I don't believe in pumping iron. I believe in getting the fighter and utilizing what he has.
If Ali had packed on more bulk, could he have hit harder? Potentially. But what would he be sacrificing? Both rhythm and timing.
I'm not a hard puncher. I'm not known for being a hard puncher. I've fought many men like Floyd Patterson, Zoe Foley, George Butler, who are stronger than I am. Many I couldn't knock out, Sonny Liston. But I'll tell you this, boxing ability, speed, whooping him on points, for the distance if necessary.
Look at the phantom punch against Sonny Liston. He caught Liston on the Patarian region with a short, mundane strike, yet the precision and timing still sent him to the canvas. Now, I love exploring boxing culture in countries and have therefore created a retro Cuban boxing t-shirt. If you are somewhat interested and want to support my project, please consider purchasing one. I'd greatly appreciate it. The Shopify link is down below. Thank you, you legends. In Lynch's The Complete Boxer from 1914, he declares the importance of stamina. It's no secret that being overly bulky or muscle-bound will wreck your stamina as rounds progress. Your frame requires more oxygen to fuel and more energy to move. Between the 1920s and 1980s, boxers routinely fought 15-round championship bouts, which evidently required exceptional conditioning. Boasting any excessive muscle was simply suicidal. The 1920s heavyweight Gene Tunney was especially aware of this, always remaining in a lean shape and ensuring he had the gas tank to withstand a grueling 15-rounder. He often fought more stocky, muscular opponents like Tom Heaney, and yet they would normally gas out around the 11th or 12th round mark. The second bout between Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk is a good representation of this. AJ was always is denounced as being like a bodybuilder by many, and it's hard to disagree. His muscles were pumped and he'd fight around the 250-pound mark. Usyk, though no beanpole, possessed nowhere near the same level of muscle. Despite landing hard body shots and pushing Usyk back, AJ would falter in the later rounds, his massive frame fatiguing and faltering, and this was only 12 rounds. Imagine 15. Elite old school boxers simply couldn't take this risk. AJ Liebling's Hard Luck Stories explores the ominous 13th round in which many old boxers, having dominated a match throughout, would come unstuck. He described Rocky Marciano's body as without Grecian grace, but boasting big forearms, wrists and calves. Rocky's body was undefined and somewhat average, not particularly toned or muscle-bound, yet this wouldn't hurt one bit. Jersey Joe Walcott, who he fought in September 1952, weighed 12 pounds more than him at 196. He boasted far greater muscle mass and was generally just the larger man. Throughout the matchup, Walcott mainly dominated despite sporadic flurries from Marciano. But by the 13th, Walcott began to tire, giving ground away slowly. Marciano, though not as powerful, acutely used leverage and momentum to stun the tiring Walcott with a right that travelled across his whole body. Not only did Marciano's leaner physique ensure greater cardio in the ring, but, in my view, it allowed him to quickly pivot on his hips to deliver brutal knockouts. With excessive bulk and muscle hurting flexibility, this sort of momentum to inflict devastating knockouts can be lost. Muscle contributing to immobility, particularly around the hip region, was underlined 30 years later. When the muscular Frank Bruno took on James Bone Crusher Smith, the result was an all-out war. Bruno genuinely seemed to be sculpted out of marble, frequently using weights to pump up his body since a young age. Meanwhile, Smith had only started boxing around the age of 23 and sported a much leaner physique, devoid of the same level of muscle in his upper body. Though I love Bruno, I feel his muscles sometimes made him awkward and clunky, alongside making him more prone to gassing out. Throughout the contest, Smith and Bruno entered bruising exchanges, but when the 10th round arrived, the American was just neater, swifter, and rotated his hips to retain the power more effectively. Bruno tended to lower his hands as fights wore on, as evidenced against Tim Witherspoon, which was likely another byproduct of his muscular frame. As the years have wore on, the heavyweight category has seen major increases in muscle mass. Andrew Golota fought around the 235-pound mark and had muscle packed onto his frame. In his fight against Chris Bird in 2004 for the IBF heavyweight title, the last 3 rounds saw Golota so gassed out that he repeatedly fell into Bird on the ropes before throwing telegraphed sluggish combinations. Like in bodybuilding, where the participants have exploded in size over the years, there now appears to be an obsession in the modern heavyweight arena that fighters must bulk up until they cannot move effectively. Zhilei Zhang's recent fight against Caballel was indicative of this. Zhang, though not aesthetically muscled, boasts substantial mass, weighing 287.5 pounds in total. By the 6th, he was blowing, damage to the body, and simply fell to his knee. Though not bashing an aged Zhang, I just don't see many of the modern larger heavyweights having the gas tank to survive a 12-round war. Boxing fights across many divisions often appear to lack rhythm and flow, especially when compared to ones from the 50s and 60s. Do I think this has come from a place of boxers obtaining aesthetic muscular physiques and neglecting technique and rhythm? Certainly to an extent, yet muscle building cannot be entirely ignored. It can be a useful tool. Nowadays, many fighters prioritize functional strength, speed and agility as opposed to purely building muscle to maximize their performance in their chosen sport. Hypertrophy training typically means multiple sets of exercises with approximately 8 to 12 repetitions per set, which is optimal for building bulky muscle. Boxers should really limit hypertrophy training and instead focus on strength and explosive training. As opposed to dumbbell curls or high rep bench press, boxers should focus on bodyweight calisthenics, explosive exercises like landmine presses and kettlebell kettlebell swings. Alongside core strengthening, these will build functional muscle as opposed to excessive ones which are largely there for aesthetic purposes. Personally, I prefer the idea of outdoor exercises like chopping wood, carrying heavy sandbags, but maybe that's because I romanticize the Rocky training montages.
Well, just stay loose as a goose and you're going to make it.
So the bottom line is, muscle is important to an extent, but boxers very quickly overdo it, packing on unnecessary size and simultaneously sacrificing the speed and rhythm that truly is so essential to the sweet science. I've always preferred defensive masters like a Harold Graham, Vasily Lomachenko or Prince Nassim, who may lack inbuilt muscle but move as though in 2 times speed. If you were to ask a boxing aficionado who is the greatest boxer of all time, many would either say Muhammad Ali or Sugar Ray Robinson. When AJ Liebling described a visit to Robinson's training camp prior to fighting Joey Maxim, instead of heavy lifting or even vicious sparring, you know what he did? Liebling wrote, "The thing about Robinson that gets you is the way he moves, even when shadow boxing. Most fighters jump rope as children do, but infinitely faster. Robinson just swings a length of rope in his right fist and jumps in time to a fast tune. He jumps high in the air and twists his joined knees at the top of every bound. He treated boxing like a dance, fine-tuning his rhythm before anything else. This is a part of boxing I feel we've lost in recent times. Fluidity and rhythm. But now I want to hear what you guys think. Would your ideal boxer be lean, slippery and elusive, avoiding punches and landing with precision and timing? Are you a fan of the Holyfield and Mike Tyson era, where potentially roided up actors slug the hell out of each other, swinging their muscles until they fatigue? There's just something romantic about old school boxing in my mind. Their lean physiques, the way they'd move, it was simply poetic. Nothing fancy, just rhythm and endless stamina. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing. Check out the t-shirts if you are interested. More coming soon. All the best. Cheers.